Welcome to the American Accent course. I'm Lisa Moisen, and I'll be your instructor. In the following lessons, you're going to learn some advanced rules that you absolutely must know in order to sound like a native speaker. You will learn when to connect words together and how to connect them and why we connect them. This will create the natural sounding speech that native speakers have. You will also learn how to reduce words and when we reduce them and why we reduce them. This will help your stress and your melody. Also, you're going to learn some important exceptions and some very difficult words to pronounce. Some of the most common mistakes that my students make are going to be included in these lessons. And finally, you will learn the difference between casual speech and formal speech, so that you can know how to speak appropriately in different situations. I want you to remember that as soon as you learn these rules, try to apply them to the real world. Try to speak with people, or even speak with yourself, thinking about the rules that you've just learned. All right, let's get started. Let's talk about a very important concept called linking. What does linking mean? Linking means connecting. And in speech, linking is connecting two words together. There are specific rules that Americans, native speakers, follow when they're speaking English that they don't realize that they're following, but they are naturally and smoothly connecting words together. Non-native speakers have to learn these rules. If you don't link words together, your speech will sound choppy and mechanical, kind of like computer-generated voice. Hi, how are you? So it's very important to learn how to link words together so you can sound smooth and your speech will be interesting to listen to and it will have that natural, smooth connection. Let's learn the first rule of linking. When a word ends with a consonant and the following word begins with the vowel, we connect these words together and we link the final consonant to the initial vowel. Let's take a look at how that works. Here we have three sentences. Look at the first sentence, in an instant. We wouldn't say in an instant. We would connect the final consonant to the next vowel. So this N and this A would be said together. Listen, inan, inan. So it's kind of like this N is over here, none, none, inan. And this N is connected to the following vowel, I, ninstant, in an instant. Repeat after me, in an instant. So we have the N over here and we have the N joined to this part and sounds like nin. One more time, in an instant. Let's take a look at another sentence. Let's analyze where are the consonants and where are the vowels. Where are the opportunities for us to link? We have an N followed by an I. Therefore, we don't say John is, John is. We link it and we say John is. John is. Here we have an S followed by a vowel. Therefore, we say isa, isa. Listen, John is a. Don't say John is a. Say John is a. Friend of. One more opportunity to link. We say friend of, friend of. Let's say the whole sentence together now, linked smoothly. John is a friend of mine. John is a friend of mine. All right, let's look at one more example. I'm an actor. Look at this, consonant plus vowel. So we say what? I'm an. And again, N plus A, we don't say an actor. We say an actor, an actor, an actor. Repeat, I'm an actor. I'm an actor. There are 3 very important things that you need to know about linking. Number 1, linking does not mean you're speaking fast. A lot of my students, when they first learn the concept of linking, they think they have to speak really fast. I'm an actor. John is a friend of mine. That's not what linking is. Linking is smooth, connected speech. It's not choppy. It's smooth and connected, and it can be slow if you wanted to make it slow. So remember, linking does not mean speaking fast. The second thing that's very important about linking is that you still need to remember the concept of stressing those key words, the content words. Otherwise, the words will just sound connected together and you won't know where one word begins and another one ends. So don't forget the concept of stressing key words. John is a friend of mine. John is a friend of mine. And the final thing is, do not link between thought groups. So for example, if I say, I'll call you in an instant, I'll call you in an instant. You can separate the thought groups and don't link when there's a comma or when you need to make a pause for a thought group. All right, let's practice a few more examples with final consonants and initial vowels. So if we say build up, let's link those 2 words together. How would that sound? Build up. Come over. Let's link those together. We have an M at the end of the word come. The E after the M is silent. Therefore, the M is the last sound and it's a consonant. And over is a vowel. Let's link that. Come over. Call up sounds like call up. For a while. For a while. For a while. Where is sounds like where is. Okay, let's do one more. What if? Let's take a look at that one actually. Look at this. We have a T between 2 vowels, and when the T is between 2 vowels, it becomes a fast D. So when we link it, we don't say what if, we say what if. What if. Remember, the T between 2 vowels sounds like a D even when the T is at the end of the word and the next letter of the following word is a vowel. All right, let's try some sentences now. We don't say hold on a minute. What do we say? Hold on a minute. Hold on a minute. We don't say a cup of coffee. We say a cup of coffee. Give me a cup of coffee. We don't say just a moment. Just a moment. We say just a moment. All right, let's practice some more sentences. It's all I'll need for a while. It's all I'll need for a while. Where is his uncle? Where is his uncle? Does everybody here work out? Does everybody here work out? Can I think it over? Can I think it over? Why did Adam bring it up again? Why did Adam bring it up again? Linking the final consonant to the following vowel is especially important for you if you tend to drop those final consonants at the end of words, like a lot of my students do. So if you're having a difficult time saying card, and it sounds like car, that linking that D to the following vowel makes a big difference. It just automatically connects it, brings it to the first position, and you're guaranteed to pronounce that final consonant each time. Let's learn the rules of linking 2 consonants together. when one word ends in a consonant and the following word begins with a consonant. Let's look at the first rule. Here we have an S, likes, and here we have another S. When we have two same consonants, we only pronounce one. Likes swimming. We don't say he likes swimming. We blend it together. We can eliminate this first S and go directly to the following word. And we say, he likes swimming. He likes swimming. You can prolong the S a little bit, but don't pause, don't interrupt the sounds, and don't break the two words in half. How about if we add something in the front and we say Bill? Who likes swimming? Bill likes swimming. Listen to this. Bill likes swimming. What did I do? I connected this L to this L. I didn't say Bill likes. I said Bill likes. One more time. Bill likes swimming. Okay, let's practice some more words now with different consonants. Let's practice the P. One P at the end of the word, and the next word also begins with the P. For example, stop practicing. What do we do when we link those two words? We say, stop practicing. One more time. I'm going to stop practicing. Let's try that with the letter T. Next time. Let's link them now. Next time. Repeat. I'll see you next time. We only pronounce one T. Let's try it with the SH, the sh. Wish she. I wish she would. How would that sound linked? I wish she would. I wish she would call me. Let's try with the D. Bad day. Let's link it now. Bad day. I had a bad day yesterday. Let's do that with an N. 9 nails. Put them together. 9 nails. Let's do it with a B. Bob Barker. His name is Bob Barker. His name is Bob Barker. Let's do it with a V. Love vegetables. I love vegetables. And one more. How about with the G? Going great. Going great. Everything is going great. The second rule of linking one consonant to another consonant is that we link consonants that have the same point of articulation. The point of articulation means the point of contact that is made for you to produce sounds. For example, P and B, P and B, have the same point of articulation because both of them require the lips to close, P, B. Another example would be T and D, T, T, D, D. They also have the same point of articulation because in both of those cases, the tongue is touching directly behind the teeth, T, D. Let's take a look at what happens when we link consonants that have the same point of articulation. Look at this example, used to. This D and T are very similar, and when people speak, they never say, I used it to. I used it to. They say, I used to. I used to. I used to work. I used to smoke. In fact, it really doesn't sound like a D ever, so sometimes when Americans write quickly or they make a spelling mistake, they will actually spell used to without the D because they're not used to hearing it. Let's look at another example. 5 friends. Look at my lips. Same point of articulation. So we wouldn't say I have 5 friends. We would blend them together and say I have 5 friends. The only difference between the V and the F is that V is voiced and F is voiceless. Otherwise, the lips are doing exactly the same thing. Repeat after me. I have 5 friends. One more example. big kitchen. G and K have the same point of articulation. It happens back here. Let's try that. G, 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 k, k, k. Your tongue is doing exactly the same thing in the back. So we don't say, I have a big kitchen. Let's link them. I have a big kitchen. Let's try a few more. Supposed to. We don't say supposed to. We say supposed to. One more. Need to. We don't say I need to go. We say I need to go. One more thing. When a consonant is a stop, for example, p, b, t, d, and another consonant follows, even if the consonant doesn't have the same point of articulation, make sure you hold that first consonant and kind of link it. For example, if I say back door, we're not going to say back door. Don't release that k. Just go back door. I went through the back door. Or, for example, help me. We don't say help me. Just hold that P, help me. Or help him. Help John. Just remember, don't overpronounce those final consonants ever. Don't release them too much if there's something coming next, if it's not at the end of the sentence. Okay? Let's practice some sentences now. I wish she would talk to me. I wish she would talk to me. Did that man know about the situation? Did that man know about the situation? I could drive you there right now. I could drive you there right now. He always seems so happy. He always seems so happy. I used to work crazy hours, but these days I've slowed down. I used to work crazy hours, but these days I've slowed down. As you can see, when you link one consonant to another consonant, your speech sounds a lot more smooth. Let's learn the final rule about linking. Linking vowel to vowel. If one word ends in a vowel and the following word begins in a vowel, there is also linking that has to happen. Let me show you what happens in that case. Look at this, see, it. Here's a vowel, E, and here's another vowel, it. In this case, we put a little Y, a little Y sound. So we don't say see it. Listen to this, see it, Y, see it. Don't make that Y too strong. Don't exaggerate it. Don't say see it. Just a little see it. I see it. I see it. Here's the rule. When the vowel requires your lips to be flat, E, for example, the vowel E or OI, these are diphthongs here, OI, A, I, they all end with that E sound. We're going to do that Y sound. One more time, see it. Let's try some more words. Very interesting. Let's put a little Y in there. Very interesting. Not too strong. Don't say very interesting. Just a little bit. Very interesting. Let's try carry on. Carry on. We all. We all. We all. We all had a good time. May I. Let's put the little Y in there. May I. May I. May I help you? So don't say, may I help you? Say, may I help you? Enjoy it. Let's link it. Enjoy it. Enjoy it. I hope you enjoy it. One more. Boy is. Let's link it. Boy is. That boy is tall. That boy is tall. All right, Let's learn what happens when our lips are rounded in the last vowel position. For example, oo, who. In this case, we don't put a little y in there, we put a little W sound, w. Round your lips, who is. Who is becomes who is. Also, when we have the sound O, this sound, O, for example, no. We don't say no one, we link it, we put a little w in there, and we say no one. Let's practice now some more with the w. 2 hours. Let's put a little W in there, and we say 2 hours. One more time. 2 hours. Blue ocean. Put a little W in there. Blue ocean. Do all. Do all. I will do all of it. One more. No answer. Put a little W in there. No answer. All right, let's practice some sentences now. I don't do it very often. I don't do it very often. Why is she so afraid of it? Why is she so afraid of it? I can see inside the open window. I can see inside the open window. This is the only one I know about. This is the only one I know about. Did you see any other ones? Did you see any other ones? Keep in mind, we insert a very little y and a very little w sound between two vowels. Let's learn another rule of smooth and natural and connected speech that has the right rhythm and the right stress. It has to do with knowing which words to reduce and exactly what happens to the words when we reduce them. As a reminder, remember, we stress the content words such as nouns and verbs and adjectives and adverbs, and we reduce function words, which are pronouns, prepositions, articles, and auxiliary verbs. Auxiliary verbs are words like will and am and is and do and does. Very often, when we reduce those words, they're contracted. So instead of saying I will go, we say I'll go. That's one way we reduce them. Or for example, we don't say I am, we say I'm. Here's what happens when we reduce prepositions. The vowel in the preposition generally becomes the neutral sound, the sound. Let's take a look. For example, the word as, when we say it naturally and when it's in the middle of the sentence, becomes as. For example, as long as you want. We don't say as long as you want. We say as long as you want. As soon as possible becomes as soon as possible. I'll call you as soon as possible. As becomes as, just a little as. As far as I know, as good as it gets. This is as good as it gets. Let's look at what happens to the word on. We don't say on Monday, we say on Monday. Repeat after me. On Monday. On Monday. I'll see you on Monday. I'll call you on Tuesday. Put it on the desk. Please come on time. Let's look at what happens to the word at. We don't say at home, we say at home, at home. I'm at home. I'm at school. I'll meet you at 5. I'll call you at 6. Let's look at what happens to the word to. We don't say to the store, we say to the store. To go. I'd like to go to the store. One more time. I'd like to go to the store. Don't say I'd like to go to the store. One more. To work. I'm going to work. I'd like to talk to you. All right? Let's look at what happens to for. We reduce the O and it becomes a. For. Repeat after me. For a while. For a while. For a moment. For a long time. I haven't seen you for a long time. All right, let's look at what happens to or. Or becomes just a consonant We don't say yes or no. We can say yes or no. Good or bad. Good or bad. This or that. Would you like this or that? Now, there could be a reason that you want to extend the or if you decide you want to say, do you want this or that? If you're thinking or if you don't know what you're going to say next, of course, you can change it. But remember, if you're continuing the sentence and you know where you're going with the sentence and what you're going to say, and there's no pause after the or, then make sure you say it a little faster and reduce the vowel and just say Look at this one, our. We don't say this is our house. We say our. This is our house. This is our house. This is our car. Do you like our new garden? Here's our number. All right? And let's look at what happens to and. In this case, we reduce the A and the D. Those disappear often. And for example, we don't say rock and roll music. We say rock and roll. I love rock and roll. In and out becomes in and out. In and out. John and Mary becomes John and Mary. I'm going to talk to John and Mary. This and that. This and that. What are you doing? This and that. Let's try some sentences now. I'd like to see you for a moment. I'd like to see you for a moment. Sooner or later, you'll meet our parents. Sooner or later, you'll meet our parents. I went to work at 9 o'clock. I went to work at 9 o'clock. I had bacon and eggs for breakfast. I had bacon and eggs for breakfast. Do you like black and white or color photos? Do you like black and white or color photos? Again, remember, reducing function words does not mean you're speaking really fast. You still have to slow down on the content words. Let's learn how to reduce pronouns, and by reducing them, how to make your speech sound more natural. All right, let's look at what happens when we have pronouns that begin with the letter H or the letter TH. If we say he did, we pronounce the H, but when he comes later, when it's not in the beginning of the word, we generally reduce it. So we don't say did he, we very often say did he? Did he go? Did he do it? Of course, if you want to speak very carefully and really pronounce things and very formally, you might want to say, did he do that? But you will hear most Americans just say, did he? did he do it? Could he? We say could he? Could he help me? Should he? Should he? Should he call you? Would he? Sounds like would he. When we say him, the same thing happens. Very often, instead of saying I told him, we just drop the H and we say I told him. Instead of saying call him, we'll drop the H and we will say I'll call him. I'll call him. I'll call him tomorrow. Ask him. You say it. Ask him. Ask him. I'll ask him a question. One more. See him. See him. I see him. When I see him, I'll say hello. Let's look at what happens to the word her. Same thing. We drop the H. We don't say call her. Generally, when people are speaking naturally, we say call her. I'll call her. Love her. Love her. I really love her. Like her. Like her. And one more. Drive her. In fact, drive her sounds like this. Driver. He's a good driver, or I'll drive her. It sounds the same. I'll drive her. And one more. Them. The TH also gets reduced. For example, we don't say, I will pick them up. We drop this TH and we say, pick 'em. Pick 'em up. I'll pick 'em up after school. Need them sounds like need 'em. Buy them sounds like buy 'em. So when the pronoun begins with an H or a TH, this is what we do, and it can be with the word he or his or him or her or hers or them. These are the situations where we can eliminate the first consonant. Let's practice some sentences now. I'll talk to him when I see him. I'll talk to him when I see him. He wants her to know that he loves her. He wants her to know that he loves her. I'll pick him up and take him home. I'll pick him up and take him home. Is that his car? No, that's his brother's car. Is that his car? No, that's his brother's car. She cut her hair, and I didn't recognize her. She cut her hair, and I didn't recognize her. Keep in mind, when the pronoun is the first word of the sentence, you would never eliminate the H or the TH. They would never be silent. You have to always pronounce them. Also, sometimes there is a special reason to stress the pronoun. For example, I love him, or I want to talk to him. In that case, of course, you would also always pronounce that first consonant. Let's talk about contractions. Contractions are very important to use in your everyday speech. Students who don't use contractions often sound like they're just beginning to learn English, like they're at the first stages and they're still pronouncing every word separately and still learning vocabulary. That's the impression Americans get when people don't use contractions. For example, we wouldn't say do not do that. We would say don't do that. And probably you're already doing that. I'm assuming you're using contractions in your speech. However, I find that a lot of my students tend to avoid certain contractions. They feel comfortable saying don't, but maybe with have or has or will, they're not quite sure how to do it and they pronounce it incorrectly, or they just completely avoid it. Let me tell you one more thing. Sometimes we do separate the words. For example, I can say do not do that. If I'm very angry, do not do that. Or I did not do it. No, I didn't. I really didn't. I did not. So for special emphasis, Americans don't contract. In most other cases, they do. One more thing, in written language, you will not see that many contractions. But in spoken language, it's very different. Let's look at another example. I've been there. When people speak, this is how they talk. I've been there. They don't say, I have been there. Of course, if they want to emphasize it, I have been there. I have. I really have. In that case, that's different. But in normal speech, you would definitely make this contraction. I've been there. Let's practice contracting some very common words. The word will. I will. Sounds like I'll. Repeat after me. I'll. Don't say I'll. Put a little between the I and the L. I'll. I'll. I'll call you. I'll see you. I'll talk to you. He will. Remember, don't pronounce that W. A lot of my students still tend to put a little W and they say he'll. It's not he'll, it's he'll. He'll. He'll call you. He'll talk to you. She'll. She'll do it. How about they will? They'll. They'll see you. And here's a difficult one. It will. How does that sound? Don't say it'll. Let's change that T into a fast D and say it'll. It'll rain. It'll be hot. It'll be nice. It'll rhymes with the word little. We don't say little, we say little. It'll, little. That's a hard one. Let's practice contracting the word would. I would sounds like I'd. I would and I had sound exactly the same when they're contracted. They both sound like I'd. I would go, I'd go. I had gone, I'd gone. They sound the same. How about he would? He'd. She would, she'd. We would, we'd. Repeat after me. We'd like it. They'd love it. Let's practice has. He has, he's. Is and has sound the same when they're contracted. So when we say he's, it could be that we are saying he is or he has. He is here, he's here. He has been, he's been. Let's practice are. That's an easy one. You are, you're. They are, they're. We are, we're. We're hungry. They're home. You're tall. Let's practice some with have. I have. I've. They have. They've. We have. We've. They've been there. We've been married for a long time. Okay, let's practice some sentences now. It'll rain all day. It'll rain all day. It's good that you're home. It's good that you're home. He'll call me and I'll give him the number. He'll call me and I'll give him the number. We waited because you said you'd come. We waited because you said you'd come. I've already eaten, but he's still hungry. I've already eaten, but he's still hungry. Remember, contractions are not necessarily casual speech. This is how people talk. Let's talk about some difficult contractions now. When I give speech evaluations to my accent reduction students, these are the ones that many people pronounce incorrectly. Let's take a look at them. When we have the word have, which is an auxiliary verb in this case, could have been, could have done, could have seen, we almost always contract that when we're speaking. A lot of my students make a mistake and they just add the V and they say could've. It's not could've. We put a little sound in there and it sounds like this. Of, could've. It sounds like this. Think about dove, which is a bird, the bird dove, and say could've, 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 could've. Let's practice that. I could have told you. Should have. Let's do that. The same thing. We're going to say dove or of. Should have. You should have known. Would have. Don't say would've. It's would've. Let's practice that. You should have told me. I could have helped you. He would have loved it. Let's look at what happens when we have the word not in there. It gets even more difficult. When we have not, we don't say could not have. Look at this. We pronounce the D and then we connect the D next to the N, and then the O disappears, but the T also disappears. Watch this. We say couldn't, and then we add this element. We do it like this. Couldn't have, couldn't have. Don't pronounce the O, don't pronounce the T. This one is hard, isn't it? Let's practice it again. Couldn't have, couldn't have. Okay, should not have becomes shouldn't have. Would not have becomes wouldn't have. Let's practice some sentences. He couldn't have done it. One more time. He couldn't have done it. She shouldn't have told you. She shouldn't have told you. One more. They wouldn't have known. They wouldn't have known. Let's look at one final point. When this is a question, would you have? We basically do this also. We say, would you have? 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 Should you have? Should you have? Strange, isn't it? That's how people speak. Let's practice some sentences. How would she have known? How would she have known? What would you have done? What would you have done? Now let's practice the sentences for all three examples. You should have seen it. You should have seen it. You would have liked it. You would have liked it. I shouldn't have said that to him. I shouldn't have said that to him. I wouldn't have called you if I'd known you were sleeping. I wouldn't have called you if I'd known you were sleeping. You wouldn't have been tired if if you'd gone to bed earlier? You wouldn't have been tired if you'd gone to bed earlier. What would you have said to her? What would you have said to her? Okay. Remember, could have, couldn't have, would you have? Let's learn to fix another very common mistake that people make. There are certain words that have vowels which are not pronounced at all, and the syllable disappears. Let me show you. When we say the word basic, it has two syllables. If we add A-L-L-Y, we don't say basically. This A disappears. So the A is not pronounced, and we say basically. Take a look at this one. Actual. 3 syllables. Actual. But if we add the ly, like here, this disappears, and we say actually. Actually. We don't say actually. There are some more words like that. Practical. Practical. We don't say practically. We drop the A and we say practically. Physical. How would we say that? Physically, not physically. Let's do a few more words. Accident. When we add accidentally, we don't pronounce the A, we say accidentally. Accidentally. One more. General. When we add the ly, we say generally. Generally, not generally. Let's look at a few more words where these strange disappearing syllables occur. In this case, the E is dropped. We don't say vegetable. A lot of my students say vegetable or vegetable. This E disappears, and this A is reduced because it's part of the unstressed syllable, and we say vegetable. Vegetable. Let's look at a few more. Most people don't say interesting. They say interesting. Interesting. This TR are connected. Interesting. Look at this one. We don't say different. We say different. The E disappears. Different. Here are a couple of words with the letter O that a lot of people get wrong. We don't say chocolate. We say chocolate. And remember, don't say chocolate. It's chocolate. I'd like some chocolate. And this next word is very difficult for a lot of people. My students regularly ask me how to pronounce it because they know they're saying something wrong when they compare their pronunciation to the pronunciation of a native speaker. Let me show you how to do it. We don't say comfortable. This is what happens. The O disappears, but then there's one more very strange thing that happens, and that's the RT becomes a TR. They change positions. Listen. Comfortable. 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 I'm very comfortable. Most Americans pronounce it like that. All right, now let's take a look at a list of words. Each one of these words contains one vowel, one syllable, which is not pronounced. Look at these words and repeat after me. Aspirin. Don't say aspirin, say aspirin. Evening. Evening. Family. Family. Beverage. beverage, naturally, naturally, Catholic, Catholic, miserable, miserable, favorite, favorite, extraordinary. Don't say extraordinary, say extraordinary. Preference, preference. Temperature, temperature. Broccoli. Don't say broccoli, say broccoli. Diamond, diamond. Laboratory. Don't say laboratory, say laboratory. Several, several. Opera, opera. Camera, camera. All right, let's practice some sentences. I'd like a chocolate beverage. I'd like a chocolate beverage. Let's go to a different restaurant. Let's go to a different restaurant. Every evening, she takes an aspirin. Every evening, she takes an aspirin. Basically, they're different. Basically, they're different. I went to an extraordinary opera last night. I went to an extraordinary opera last night. I actually like broccoli. I actually like broccoli. Fortunately, there aren't too many of these types of words, but the ones that I've listed, try to memorize them and make a habit of using them correctly. Let's learn to fix some more common mistakes. It has to do with the silent letters. As you know, for example, in the word know, the K is silent. You probably already know that. We don't say I know, we say I know. But a lot of my students, for example, don't know that the B is silent in the word bomb. We don't say bomb, we say bomb. Let's review some very common words that a lot of students mispronounce. Let's start with the silent B. Bomb, climb. We don't say climb, we say climb. Debt. Don't say debt, say debt. Subtle and doubt. Another common mistake, the silent CH. We don't say yacht, we say yacht. Okay, silent D. Adjust. Don't say adjust, say adjust. Adjective. All right, silent L. We don't say walk and talk, we say walk, talk. Could, would, should. Silent L. Half. We don't say health, we say half. Silent T. The silent T very frequently happens in words that are originally French. For example, the word ballet, it has the ET ending, and in the French language, the T is almost always silent, so English speakers pronounce it the same way. We don't say ballet, we say ballet. A few more ET endings. Bouquet, like a bouquet of flowers. Buffet. Valet. And one more, Chevrolet. We don't say Chevrolet. Chevrolet. Let's look at a few cases where the TH is usually silent. Look at the word month. This TH is pretty easy to pronounce, but when we add an S, the TH and S combination are very difficult, even for native speakers. Most Americans don't really say months. They kind of eliminate the TH and they just say months. 1 month, 2 months. Same thing with the word clothes. We don't really say clothes. You might hear a tiny TH with some people's pronunciation, but most people just say clothes. I bought some new clothes. All right, silent P. Don't say receipt, say receipt. Can I have my receipt? Psychology. Psychic. One more. Cupboard. Don't say cupboard or cupboard, say cupboard. My kitchen cupboard. Silent S. Arkansas, Illinois, island, debris. All right, one more. Silent W. Answer. Don't say answer, say answer. These are the most commonly mispronounced words with silent letters. Now, let's compare formal speech with casual, everyday, conversational, relaxed speech. Look at this. When we have the word have, for example, could have been, you have learned that we say could have been, we reduce it to of. If you speak more casually, you can say coulda. You just change the v to a, coulda. I coulda called you. I coulda come over. Would have, woulda. Should have, shoulda. Look at what happens to of. Same thing, it becomes a. Instead of saying kind of, you will hear people say kinda. I'm kinda tired. Sort of, sorta. Bottle of wine, bottle of wine. Cup of coffee, cup of coffee. Look at what happens to to. To also becomes a. For example, want to, wanna. I wanna go. Got to, gotta. I gotta eat. I gotta go. A few more rules of casual speech. Let me often becomes lemme. The T disappears. Let me do it. Let me go. Let me help you. With give me, sometimes you will hear people say gimme. Instead of the V, they just drop the V. Gimme. Give me a call. Give me that. One more. A lot of my students ask me about this, the ing ending. Sometimes the G disappears, but remember, this is considered really casual speech. Maybe you will see this in music lyrics. It's kind of how young people talk, but it's not really considered very professional speech. Instead of saying going, people will say going, doing. What are you doing? What's happening? Be careful about that one. Use it only in certain casual situations. All right, let's practice some sentences now using this casual way of talking. You should have told me earlier. I could have helped you. You should have told me earlier. I could have helped you. I want to get a cup of coffee. I want to get a cup of coffee. He's going to make a lot of money. He's going to make a lot of money. We got to go shopping because we're out of food. We got to go shopping because we're out of food. Let me introduce you to a friend of mine. Let me introduce you to a friend of mine. People talk like this every day. You will hear this kind of speech in movies and in casual conversations. But remember, If you're in a more formal setting, do not abbreviate things like this.